All right, let's dive into a story about some truly impossible choices, where love and duty collide in the dark, cold depths of war. It's a story that kicks off with a secret and ends with a revelation that's been waiting more than 70 years to see the light of day.
Now, this isn't some hypothetical you'd see in a movie. For one spy, this was a devastating, gut-wrenching reality. The decision she made in a single moment created ripples that have echoed through generations, all leading to one final heartbreaking journey.
So, our story actually begins not in the chaos of the past, but in the quiet tension of today, with a very long and very awkward taxi ride from Germany all the way to the coast of Norway.
So, in one corner, you've got Kati, a fiercely independent and kinda cynical taxi driver who just wants to get her shift over with. And in the other, her passenger, an elderly woman named Elizabeth Lenz, who's offering a crazy amount of money for a one-way trip, no questions asked. They are literally trapped in a car together, with an entire lifetime of secrets just sitting there between them.
You can just feel the tension, right? The whole journey is filled with these little jabs. The old woman keeps asking these quiet, persistent questions about Kati's life, especially about her mom, and it just feels weirdly intrusive. But these questions aren't random. They're slowly weaving a thread, hinting at some deep, unknown connection between these two women.
All right, so to really get why this old woman is dragging a taxi driver to a remote spot in Norway, we have to jump in a time machine. We're going all the way back to World War II, where a young woman named Ellen was handed a critical and incredibly dangerous mission.
And there she is. This is Ellen, the younger version of our mysterious passenger. Her German was perfect, and a personal tragedy at the hands of the Nazis made her, well, the perfect weapon for British intelligence. Her mission was to get inside the highest levels of the German war machine. Her number one target is this guy, Hans Martens. He's a brilliant and deeply patriotic German engineer, a key mind in the Nazi war effort, designing the next generation of deadly U-boats. I mean, you can see it right there. She's driven by revenge and justice. He's driven by duty to his country. Their paths are absolutely set on a collision course.
But you know how these things go. War is complicated, and so are people. What starts out as a pretty straightforward mission of deception, well, it quickly gets tangled up in something neither Ellen nor Hans could have ever seen coming. A genuine, undeniable connection.
Hans is just completely disarmed by Ellen. He doesn't see a spy, he doesn't see an enemy, he just sees a woman caught up in all the ugliness of war. And his words to her, they show you the start of this incredibly complicated bond. It's flirtatious, it's tender, and it's completely forbidden. Of course, her handler, Robert, he's seeing red flags everywhere. He warns her, flat out. But Ellen is already in way too deep. She's trying to convince him, and probably herself, that her feelings are just part of the act. She is caught between her mission and her heart, and those lines are getting dangerously blurry. So, just as things are getting complicated personally, the mission gets a whole lot more specific and the stakes just skyrocket. It's not just about gathering general intelligence anymore. The British now need to know exactly what top-secret tech Hans is working on and, more importantly, where it's headed. And then, she gets it. Ellen makes a breakthrough. She gets the intelligence she was sent for. But the information she uncovers, it forces her into a truly impossible, soul-crushing choice. So here's what she finds out. Hans is personally overseeing the transport of these revolutionary jet engine prototypes to Japan. This tech could literally change the course of the war in the Pacific. So the British response is swift and absolute. U-boat 864 cannot reach its destination. It has to be sunk. And Hans, he's going to be on board. In a final, desperate act of love that just completely shatters her duty as a spy, she confesses everything to Hans. She tells him who she really is, what she's done, begging him, pleading with him to believe her and not get on that submarine, to save himself. And this is just, it's heartbreaking. The truth is too insane. Hans hears her confession not as a warning, but as this crazy, romantic plea from a woman in love to keep him from leaving. He thinks it's a beautiful lie. He thanks her, promises he'll be back, and sails as planned. And then, Ellen is forced to witness the attack that she herself set in motion. Her pleas to the British commanders are useless. They're just lost in the cold, brutal machinery of war. She succeeded. Her mission was a success. But it cost her everything she had come to love.
All right, let's fast forward. We're back to the present day.
back in that taxi on the coast of Norway, where this entire tragic past is about to come to its heartbreaking end. At their destination, looking out over the very same waters where that U-boat went down, Ellen finally lays it all out. She is Kati's grandmother. After the war, she gave birth to Hans's child in secret. That child was Kati's mother. Her handler, Robert, married her just to give the baby a name and keep Ellen out of prison. Which means the man she sent to his death, Hans Martens, was Kati's grandfather. So the real reason for this long, strange journey finally becomes clear. They're met by a team of marine researchers who've been studying the wreck of U-boat 864 for decades. And they have something for Ellen, something they brought up from the deep.
Inside is something that honestly is nothing short of a miracle. A small, waterproof container holding a letter. It's a final message that Hans wrote as the sub was going down. A message that's been waiting at the bottom of the ocean for over 70 years.
And that letter, it reveals the final, devastating tragedy and grace of their story. In his last moments, Hans understood. He knew she was telling the truth, and he forgave her. His final thoughts weren't of betrayal, they were of love.
Ellen's story leaves us with this powerful question, doesn't it? It's just this heavy reminder of the deeply personal human costs that are so often hidden beneath the grand strategies and faceless statistics of war, and the incredible burdens that survivors are forced to carry for a lifetime.